KQ Memphis, AW253DF Memphis, Flynn Podcasting Stations.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo.
Look up on the wall. There on the wall. Under the wall.
Football is in full swing and underway. College, high school, NFL exhibition season is over. We've got medals coming your way. TJ Reeves will join us from down in Tampa. And the FedEx Cup Championship is all set for Atlanta and East Lake Country Club. And obviously some surprises. How about Keegan Bradley, who was the last one in the field, 50, and ends up winning that tournament in Colorado. Man, the altitude differences, these guys have to figure out so much, especially at Castle Pines just outside of Denver. They got to figure out, it's like a 9% difference on how far the ball will carry. So you got to do the math on what the yardage is and then take away 10%. And then they have such elevation drops, you have to take that into account. It's tough. And they were missing greens going long or short the whole day. It was very interesting indeed, and Ted Butler will talk about that. We only got one more week of golf. By the way, John Thompson, our coach, will be joining us to talk college football. And a tough week for Tiger opponents, really. So that means it was a tough week for the Tigers at gaining notoriety anyway. Georgia Tech goes down, and I mean, they took it to Florida State. Excuse me. Florida State goes down. Georgia Tech beat them, and I mean beat them. And then SEMO took care of North Alabama. The Tigers, by the way, from what I understand, are 38.5-point favorites to beat North Alabama on Saturday at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. I always look to see, if you really want to know what's going to happen in a football game, take a look at the line play. We can talk about quarterbacks and wide receivers, and we can talk about a run game and running backs all day long. We can talk about an edge rusher impacting a game, and that's true. We can talk about a great defensive back with an interception of some kind. The truth of the matter is most games are decided in the trenches. Which team controls the line of scrimmage? Which is the more physical team? And there is no doubt in my mind that Georgia Tech was better on both sides of the ball in the line play. They ran for 196 yards. That tells you everything you need to know. That means you control the time, you control the pace of the game, you controlled everything. And that was not, in my estimation, an anomaly. That wasn't a weird loss. That was Georgia Tech beat them. They flat out beat them. And if I'm Ryan Silverfield and I'm watching that, I'm going, there are some skilled players on that team, and DJU is well, he's got to be better. He wasn't great in that game. He has the potential to be a decent quarterback. He's never been a great quarterback by any means, or he wouldn't be on, what is this, his third school? So,
third school.
Right. So, but if I'm Ryan, I'm going, this is not the greatest physical team yet. Right? This is a team we might be able to match up. We'll see a little bit how Memphis's lines are when they line up first against North Alabama, and then the big game, Troy. And I keep pointing this out, but Troy is a worrisome game. There are some people that think Troy is a dark horse to be the Group of Five representative. Really. Appalachian State and Troy are both mentioned in their league as possible G5 reps for the playoffs. Now, they lost their coach. He's now at Tulane. But most of the same guys are back, and they won a lot of games the last few years. And if you look at power rankings by various different groupings, ESPN, whatever they call their power ranking, I think The Athletic does a power ranking. I've seen several of these. And if you look, Memphis is the number one power ranked team in the American. I do think one grouping had Texas San Antonio ahead of Memphis, but that's the only one I've seen. Most of the time, Memphis is picked to win the American. The next ranked team in these power rankings, before you get to USF, before you get to Tulane, before you get to Texas San Antonio, is Troy. That game's a big game. That'll be the second week. And then you've got to face them. But we'll see the first 2 weeks how they line up in the trenches. And if they do line up favorably, you got to go, hey, you know what? Look what we saw from Florida State and Dublin. They're not the most physical team in the world. Maybe you can match up with them. We're going to do medals, and I got an amazing stat in medals about the Georgia coach, Brent Key. When he is an underdog by double digits, it's amazing. We'll get to that in just a little bit. I watched a bunch of high school football games, and I got off the phone today with the guy who assigns all of the officials for games in the Memphis area. There's a huge shortage, and you can tell some of them don't even know the rules. I went to 2 high school football games last week. Thursday, I went to the first half of the Christian Brothers White Station game. And White Station, boy, have they got some issues, I guess, some problems. But the way that game was called is if the ball breaks the plane on a kickoff of the end zone, right? So you kick it from the 40, and if it breaks the plane, you're not allowed to bring it out. It's a safety reason. Then I go to the MUS Bartlett game. Speaking of, by the way, trenches, Bartlett absolutely controlled that game. We'll get to that in medals, and there's a player they got that is just superstar. But in the first half, they didn't call that rule correctly. So there's a shortage of officials. And I talked with Don Williams today. He's short. I want to say, I believe he's short 20 to 25 referees. So if you haven't heard this before, most of the time it's Friday Night Lights, right? All the high school games are supposed to be on Friday. They can't do that here. They can't play more than 19 games. If they have a 20-game Friday night, which they have in a couple of weeks, Don doesn't have enough officials to go around. They are really in need. So listen, if you do a high school football game, if you're on that crew, you get $120 plus mileage. So if you're a young guy and you know football, I'm sure you have to go to a few clinics, but they're in need. And you make $120 if you do a high school game. Figure out a way. I should have gotten this information for you, and I'll try to bring it to you tomorrow. But they really need high school officials. And then those guys need to know the rules because they didn't know the rules. The disparity, by the way, in the MUS Bartlett game, of the way it was called, was crazy. Some of them have rabbit ears, those refs, too. But I don't want to criticize them too much because they need more of them. That is for sure. But there is a real shortage there. So that's why there's so many games on Thursday, and now they had games on Saturday because they don't have enough officials to go around for all the games on Friday. The most they can play at this moment is 19. 2 weeks from now, there's 20 scheduled for a Friday night. That is already an issue. And if you're an official out there, please know the rules because they didn't know the rules in the first half of the MUS Bartlett game. All right. We are underway. We've talked about TJ coming along and Ted Butler. He'll have one last go-around next week, and we are all set up for Eastlake. But we do a thing on Mondays that we call Precious Metals, brought to you in part by the good folks at Southern Security. If you're a small business owner, maybe you're a single mom, or maybe you're buying your first home, Southern Security is there for all of you. It is your trusted financial partner for over 75 years now. Southern Security has been serving the Mid-South community with the best unbeatable rates, the best of service, and the newest of technology. Voted best credit union in the Mid-South for 6 consecutive years and going. To find out how you can join the Southern Security family, visit southernsecurity.org, or, and I love this about them, you can actually talk to a human being at the bank. Call 901-452-7900. Southern Security is a proud supporter of the U of M Athletics and 901 Women. Southern Security, your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. All right, let's get to the medals. I got a bunch, Zach. I'm going to give a bronze medal, and it's probably meaningless, but it may be the only time I mention any of these teams. I'm going to give one to the Bears, to the Broncos, to the Vikings, to the Titans, to the Jags, and to the Jets. You know why I would give a medal to all of those teams?
So they're undefeated?
They are undefeated. In the NFL exhibition season, they were all 3-0, except for the mighty Chicago Bears, who won the Hall of Fame game. So they were 4-0. 4-0. But it's the NFL exhibition season, right? So I'm not getting my hopes up high that any of those teams are going to be that great when it comes to the regular season. I'm going to give a bronze, but it probably should go higher, to Aaron Judge. Yesterday, he hit 2 home runs, 50 and 51, for his third 50-plus home run season. He's in rarefied company. You know who else has had 3 50 home run seasons in their careers? Babe Ruth, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, and A-Rod. They're the only ones. Aaron Judge becomes the 5th with 3 50-plus home run seasons. He's on pace to hit 63. So he's not going to get anywhere near the Barry Bonds mark. But he's going to break that 60 home run mark probably, which was the standard forever. I'm going to give a silver medal to Georgia Tech and to Brent Key, their coach. I talked to you about how they dominated Florida State. They really did down in Dublin. And some people are going to say now, why would Mike Norvell agree to that game? Why would you open up all the way over in Ireland, have to travel that far, and then you sort of get embarrassed because you were a double-figure favorite? Well, part of it is they paid you a lot of money, so that's a good thing. And you know, Florida State isn't a power conference, but it's not in the most revenue-producing power conference. That's why Florida State and Clemson are trying to get out. And believe it or not, they don't have a big, huge alumni group in that state like the University of Florida does. So they're not the richest school. So it makes sense. I could see why they would go for the big payday. Plus which, for a week, they were the darlings of college football. They were the only game. It was an interesting conference game in a Power 4 conference. Makes sense. You got a lot of pub. Norvell was on national TV a whole bunch. I don't blame him for doing it, but he was up against Brent Key. So, in Brent Key's career at Georgia Tech, he has been a double-digit underdog 5 times. That's against top 10 teams. No, I'm sorry. Again, as a double-digit underdog. 5 times he's played good teams. He's won all 5 games as a double-digit underdog. That's amazing to me. 5-0 with that win over Florida State. And I've got to give, and I mentioned this earlier, I went to that Bartlett MUS game. So there's a running back at Bartlett named Jaron Johnson. And I think it's spelled just like the old basketball player from Memphis. I think Josh's first year, he was a junior college transfer, a great defender, really good athlete. Not the best shooter, but a good guy and a really, really solid college basketball player. I don't know if there's any relation to that. I wonder if that... I'm trying to do the math to see if it's his son. If anybody out there knows, let us know. But this kid is terrific. 338 yards and 5 touchdowns, and this is against MUS. So that matchup at Bartlett, by the way, was the number 3 team, Bartlett, against the number 7 team, MUS. And they torched them 41-17. Again, it was line play that was very significantly one-sided to Bartlett's favor. And even though Bartlett was on the raw end of all the penalty calls, they just dominated MUS. This kid is really special. He's a signee for MUS. He has a 4.2 4.40. First great step, but also great lateral movement. And of course, that acceleration when you hit a 4.2 40. This kid is really worth watching all season long. Lucky Bartlett, you're going to have a terrific year with him. And then gold medals, Keegan Bradley, who won for the 7th time on tour. He was the last man in the field. Now he's number 4 at Eastlake, which means he starts the season or the final grouping in this final tournament at 6 under. So Scotty's 10 under, Xander's 8 under, Hideki's 7 under, Bradley 6 under, Oberg is 5 under. That's how they're starting this tournament. 3 guys at 4 under. It's, just basically what you've done in the playoffs. Not for the total FedEx Cup, but for the playoffs, I believe. Well, it's a combination because Scotty's had a terrible playoff. He wasn't terrible in Memphis, but he was terrible at Castle Pines. So Keegan, who probably will now make the President's Cup team and could be a playing captain if he keeps this up for the Ryder Cup, because he's the Ryder Cup captain. I got to give him a gold, and then my final gold goes to Florida in the Little League World Series. This is a small town outside Orlando that won this. First time a Florida team has ever won the Little League World Series. They beat Taiwan yesterday in the championship game. They beat Texas in the American championship game. This team was full of characters, really good players, fun watch. The whole Little League World Series I thought was really, really well done. I enjoyed the coverage. I enjoyed the games. I enjoyed the athletes. Florida beats Taiwan yesterday. It had to come from behind 1-0. They tied it in the last inning to make it 1-1. They go to extras. And it was just terrific. So Florida, the Little League World Series champions, get my final gold medal.
That's great.
Thank you.
I got a lot of medals myself, Dave. So let's start off with the bronze. I'm giving that to football in general because we're back. It's back. Obviously, if you haven't noticed, Dave, I'm sporting my Mississippi State hat, and I got my...
Your cowbell? So are you now a bully? Is that what you are?
Yes, I'm an honorary bully.
Okay.
Honorary. I have adopted them as my school, unless the Tigers are playing, though. But,
okay. Well, I don't think the Tigers are going to play them unless they make the playoffs.
No, but they are playing them in basketball.
Oh, they could play them in a bowl game, really.
Yeah. Playing them in basketball later on in the year, so...
That's true. You're right.
so we're going to have to figure something out. My other bronze medals, I give one to the Florida Little League team.
World Series?
Yeah,
they were fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean that it's unfortunate that it had to end in an error.
I know.
But things happen.
And you know what? They played it's a 6-inning game. They played the first extra inning game straight up. Then in the 8th, they go to that. Put a guy on second. Of course, you're worried about pitching. These kids have already played so many games in the week and a half or two that they've been there. So I get it, but they put a runner at second, and nobody covered first base. And the catcher didn't realize that and threw it away, and the kid came all the way around from second to score on a sacrifice bunt. Tough for Taiwan.
Yeah, that was tough.
And those tears were for real, right? I mean, it means so much when you're, 12 years old?
Yeah. So... shout out to them, man. They put on a show. Obviously, what is it? Yep, Mississippi State. That's counted as one of my bronze. Shout out to the campus as well. I like their campus. My other bronze medal, I only got 4 bronze. I don't know if you kept counting, Dave. 4 bronze.
Okay.
I'm giving one to my alma mater, and that's Southwind High School. Did you see the final score of
What was it? Who did they play that killed them?
They played Ridgeway.
41-0 or something like that?
It was like 68-0.
Oh, my gosh.
69-0.
What has happened to Ridgeway? I'll tell you what happened to Ridgeway. Ridgeway was one of those schools that really got hurt by COVID. They have never been good since COVID. They lost key players to private schools, and then, you know, some of those younger guys had lost a whole year of development, and wow, it's a bad scene there now.
Yeah, Southwind's quarterback, Kelvin Perkins. He's supposed to be one of the best QBs here in the area. He didn't have a big prolific day. He was 7 of 16, 214 yards.
That's pretty good. 214 yards passing?
Touchdowns.
That's pretty good.
And he also rushed for 1. So he accounted for 5 touchdowns
Wow.
in that game. So that was a big game for him to start the year off for Southwind and the Jags. Silver medals. Got to give one to Harrison Burton. Like the Wood brothers, I guess they've been a staple in the NASCAR scene. They've always had one driver, and it's just somehow, some way, when it comes to the Daytona races and the Talladega race, they somehow, some way managed to get their car to the front of the pack, and that's what happened over the weekend for Harrison Burton to get the win at Daytona. My other silver medal, I give one to Lillian View.
Oh, yeah.
She winning the first? Is that the first in a while for the women's to be playing at the old course?
First time they've ever played at the old course, and it was the Women's British Open.
Yeah. Shout out to her for getting that victory.
She didn't get the victory.
I mean,
Lydia Ko won the tournament.
Oh, that's who. Okay, I got confused with the golfers. Lydia Ko.
She's from New Zealand.
I'm sorry. That was the golfer. I'm sorry. Lydia Ko. That's the person that gets my silver medal. How can I feel?
Nelly Corda, I feel bad for. She had a big lead in that thing, and she just couldn't hold on. She had another double bogey. She just, ever since that winning streak, she's not been the same. It looked like she was coming back at the Olympics. It looked like maybe she'd found her way because she had leads in this tournament, but she couldn't get it done.
Yeah, but I guess that's the mental aspect of the game. You kind of need to bounce back from it, compartmentalize. I guess that's what they're saying.
Right.
And then my gold, I give that to Keegan Bradley. I mean, he's been playing some great golf the last few weeks.
He has, from out of nowhere. He has
Literally.
Look, they made him the Ryder Cup captain because nobody thought he could still really play. Since that time, he's been terrific. I think he's going to make the President's Cup team. We'll talk about that a little bit later with Ted Butler. Is that your only gold?
That's my only gold.
Okay. Let's get to Russ real quickly. Again, high school officiating situation. Please know the rules, guys. And if you're out there, you're a younger guy who can run and you love football and you know the game, you'll learn the rules, you go to clinics, you can make $120 a game plus mileage. They need officials. And then final Russ goes to the Chicago White Sox. They are now the second fastest team ever in Major League Baseball history to lose 100 games. The worst team since 2016. They're now 31-100. Thank goodness they can't be the worst team ever. The 1899 Cleveland Spiders hold that recognition and will probably forever. They were 20-134. I don't think any team will ever be where they don't win more than 20 games. But these White Sox may not get to the 40 that the New York Mets in 62 accomplished. 31-100. We're on watch to be the worst team in the modern era.
It's rough. My rust. I give one to the Florida State schedule makers. You didn't have to go all the way to Dublin to take a L if that was the case. You could have avoided. You could have just played this game at home or played at Georgia Tech on the road. You didn't have to, travel multiple time zones to play on foreign soil just to lose the way that you lost to them on Saturday afternoon. I wasn't a big fan of it. Wasn't a big favor, but hey, like, I mean, if it helps make you if it helps making some extra dough by going across going across the pond to play the game, so be it.
Yeah. They made money and they got a lot of pub. Unfortunately, it turned out to be bad pub. But you know what they used to say. There is no such thing as bad pub. Anything else?
That's all.
Those
that's my roast.
are our medals as we sit here in the Family Leisure studio. Don't forget, at Family Leisure at I-40 and Whidden Road, the world's biggest spa sale still going on. I don't know if it'll go into September, but it's going on right now where you can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs. They're ready for delivery. They start at $28.99. Those cold plunges, those are cool. They start at $38.99. Swim spa starting at $17,499. Now, you can get some special financing available. It's available for all of those things. All you got to do is get to I-40 and Whidden Road and see that all patio furniture is now priced to move. The sale is on with our good friends at I-40 and Whidden Road, Family Leisure. We take a break. We head down to Tampa. Momentarily, we talk a myriad of subjects with our guy, TJ Reeves. He's next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Are you ready to make this the summer event rockin' Ronnie? Because the place to buy is Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. I'm ready, Randy. Check this out. A 2024 Jeep Compass Sport, four-wheel drive, $27,090 or $398 a month. 2024 Jeep Compass Sport 4x4, $27,090 or $398 a month. Or take your pick, a 2023 Dodge Challenger RT or a 2024 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tracer, two-wheel drive, $38,990 or $579 a month. Rockin' Ronnie says drive past the rest and come to the Nasdaq. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. Or shop us anytime online at GossettMotorCars.net. If you want it, then you got to Gossett. 75 months at 7.99. Ram and Challenger 5,000 down. Jeep 4,000 down. Challenger PH 574221. MSRP 52,315. Jeep RT 173869. MSRP 28,090. 0% for 36 months. Grand Cherokee and Wrangler price includes all rebates and incentives and excludes PF 695. All exclude tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details.
Jenkins Floors and More invite you to their retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors in Little Rock, Cleveland, Mississippi, and now open in Horn Lake at 2356 West Goodman Road. Specializing in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds, Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects, call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, you can upgrade your home with up to $1,500 off select appliances from top brands like Whirlpool. Enhance your kitchen with quality and convenience from Whirlpool, like the freestanding electric range with built-in air fryer and the tall tub dishwasher with third row. All available at the Home Depot. Right now, shop Labor Day savings at $1,500 off select appliances at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Price valid August 22nd to September 11th with a Sunday store on
We're in the break room at a traditional jewelry store here. Hey, Mark, I know it's our job here to try and sell every piece of jewelry, but don't sell this ring. I'm going to try to use my employee discount to buy it for my wife.
Okay, but you know you can get a better deal at Genesis Diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds? Are you crazy?
Better not let the boss hear it. All I'm saying is I got a pair of diamond set earrings there for my wife and paid a lot less than what we charge here, even after my employee discount.
Wow.
You never know who you'll see shopping at Genesis Diamonds. With no middleman pricing on the best selection of diamond rings, earrings, pendants, bands, and bracelets, it's a no-brainer.
I admire your dedication to our jewelry store and not going to Genesis. I know the boss really appreciates your loyalty.
It's just the right thing to do, man.
And it's nice your wife won't mind getting a smaller diamond.
On second thought, can you cover me while I take a break? Genesis Diamonds, the smart alternative to old-fashioned jewelry shopping. With more selection, lower prices, higher quality, stronger warranties, and zero pressure. At Poplar and Perkins Extended.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM, your Mid-South sports station.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. And once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshyn.
Weekend's over. We got a big weekend coming up. Go see my friend Eddie Connor at the Spirit Shop. He'll load you up. Great service, great prices, great location right there. Poplar and St. Nick, 4848 Poplar, right down from Clark Tower. You've passed by that little log cabin many times. And in there, you will find rare bourbons. You will find up-and-coming tequilas. You'll find a great bargain with some new wine. Maybe it's going to be really valuable in a few years. Eddie will educate you. You need a local beer? He's got it. You want an accessory of any kind, even a seasoning to rub on a rim for a particular craft cocktail? He's got all that. He's got everything you need when it comes to spirit. Think Eddie Connor at the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick. TJ Reeves joins us now from Tampa, Florida. NFL exhibition season in the books. You realize there were several teams, Bears, Browns, Vikings, Titans, Jags, Jets, all undefeated in the NFL exhibition season.
How about that?
Will I be talking about any of those in the regular season?
Great question. That's a great question. You just jogged me. You want to go back 41 years? Let's go back 41 years on Wolo and Friends.
Okay.
TJ and family moved from the great state of Tennessee to Florida, where we have never left as a family except for the 4 years that I came back to the Memphis State University and met one Dave Woloshyn in the late 80s. 1983, we moved here. The Buccaneers had gotten rid of some guy named Doug Williams, who had led them to the NFC title game. You remember that guy, right?
I do.
Later went on to win the Super Bowl, MVP with the Washington Redskins. So all the talk here, don't need Doug Williams anymore. I get to town. I'm listening to the radio, reading the paper, reading the letters to the editor. Remember, we used to have newspapers and letters to the editor.
Yeah.
Don't need Doug Williams anymore. Bucs are going to be fine. Buccaneers go 4-0 that preseason. You would have thought it was a playoff-type run that was in the offing for John McKay's Buccaneers with the throwing Samoan Jack Thompson at quarterback to replace Doug Williams. They lost the first 9 games of the regular season, went 2-14. All I am saying on a Monday on Wolo and Friends is do not read too much into an unbeaten exhibition year, my friend. I lived it. I lived it.
I hear
right
you.
here.
I hear you. I do think Caleb Williams is going to be a good quarterback, though, for the Bears.
Cowboys went winless one year in the preseason and won the Super Bowl, by the way. In either the 92 or the 93 Super Bowl season, they didn't win a preseason game. I believe that's correct.
I would not be shocked. I mean, let's be honest. Even then, you would play your starting team maybe a half of a game.
Right.
And that would be it in one game. And the Bears weren't playing Caleb Williams in only 2 of the 4 that they won.
Right.
The one thing I do like is I watched like the Titans came back and won the game the other day. That there's a culture thing that I do think helps you in camp. But it doesn't mean that you're going to be really good once the regular season starts.
I agree with you. And so in the Buccaneers case, the starters basically didn't play at all. Played like 7 offensive plays back on Friday night in the final game. That's the only 7 plays that the starters like Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, the running back Rashad White, the big left tackle Worse. That's all they played together. So it is a different day right now with some teams in the NFL just looking at these games as they are a bigger risk to our starting guys than they are reward to play them and have them get out there and be injured. So that's why you're eventually going to see, maybe even as soon as next year, you're going to go to 2 exhibition games and 18 games that count.
Yeah, I can't wait for that to start. Seriously.
The teams are basically letting you know we do not value the need for another preseason game versus let's play them for real, and if injuries happen for real, they happen in a real game, and so be it. So
I've heard veterans, like let's say Joe Theismann, who said you got to play at least 2 exhibition games because you got to get some timing together.
The key word there is they got to play in those games
and
get that work in. You're right. But right now, so many of these teams are approaching it as we're not going to play anybody in at least 2 of those 3 games, if not any of them.
Well, you know, there's also,
am I correct? Aaron Rodgers didn't take a snap in any of the 3 Jets preseason games this year either.
No, but I'll tell you what he did do that they didn't used to do that they've done the last, 5 years or so, and that is if you're going to play a team on a Friday or a Saturday in the exhibition season, the team comes on Wednesday and you play these scrimmages. So
Correct.
Aaron Rodgers played in those scrimmages.
Correct.
So the point I'm trying to make is you're getting work in practices that are controlled, where the injuries are less likely to happen than they would in a game, and so those didn't exist in those days. So that's another reason why you only need 2 exhibition games.
I'm with you. Shorten it. Let's get to the games that matter more. And the Buccaneers, in their case, will open up at home with the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels, the Heisman winner from LSU, making his debut. So that'll be interesting to start the year. And of course, Mahomes and the three-peat talk begins with the Ravens a week from Thursday night. So we got plenty of storylines, plenty of things to build up. Harbaugh back in the NFL with the Chargers.
Titans
are the
and
Cowboys
the Bears to open up.
Your Bears with Caleb Williams, are they going to be respectable, presentable, you hope? You've stopped betting me things on the Bears and the Buccaneers. I know that. Are the Cowboys going to implode by October 1st? Might it take a little longer? There's all kinds of subjects, so we're anxious for all of that to get underway.
Would you like to make a Mel's bet?
How many more Mel's hot dogs do you want to lose to me about the Bears?
Well, I
as
feel,
it relates to the Bucs. I mean, you're down. You're like -3 at least,
but
maybe -4 right now.
Here's what I think. By the time the Tigers play USF in Tampa for basketball season, if that game actually happens.
Wait a minute. What are we talking about in the basketball season? Well, you come here for the football season.
I got that. But the Bears and the Bucs don't play each other. But we could match up regular season records.
Okay.
I say the Bears' regular season record will be better than the Bucs.
You're jonesing for the Mel's hot dog, the Chicago-style hot dog place down here in Tampa.
I've given you so many over the years, plus I've thrown that in for your dad.
Wait. What kind of history are we revising on a Monday morning about what I owe you?
No. I've paid you off so many times. I'm due.
You got to get some back.
Yes.
You're due to get some back.
Yes.
All I know is the Bears beat the Bucs one year, and you were staying downtown Tampa for the USF Memphis football game, I believe. And I had to go get the Mel's, which is not next door to my house, and come through end of the world construction to find you to bring you the Mel's hot dog. And I said, "Come on, Wolo. Who else would pay off like this?"
No, that was very good.
I take care of you on our wagers. We have gone for several minutes, and you haven't mentioned that the Tigers are going to be playing Florida State, and we're at DEFCON 1 already for the Florida State fans right now. After what happened
tell me, now you're a little bit south of where Tallahassee is, but there's a lot of vibrations in the state.
I'm friends and acquaintances literally with 36 Florida State fans, alumni, media members, and it is unanimous that they are simultaneously distraught, befuddled, and ticked off at whatever that was in Ireland on Saturday. They're all saying the same things. How did we get pushed up and down the field by Georgia Tech in a game that we were favored in by 10 points, and we have an outstanding defensive line that got pushed all over the place like it was a preseason game on Saturday?
They ran for 196 yards on that line that's supposed to have 3 NFL guys.
Seemed like more than that.
It's crazy.
And put it on them. So now
apparently
for FSU,
DJ Ungalele has a long way to go. He did not play that well in that game.
He's DJ. You throw it short because he threw everything 3 and 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage. So he was not looking downfield enough. The FSU fans not happy with that. And there is a school of thought that if you have been at 2 places before and you're not at either one of them anymore and now at a 3rd place, there are reasons why you are now at place number 3. Right. But for Florida State, they basically have a high wire act the rest of the year because a second loss would virtually nix them even in a 12-team playoff. You don't know for sure.
Yeah, you know what their percentage to make the playoffs is now?
What did it go down to?
12%.
Wow. And they were what, probably 70% before the game?
I don't know if it was that high, but it was good.
They were the ACC favorite where they get an automatic bid.
Right.
I would have to think they would have been like a 70% favorite
let's be honest,
to make the playoffs.
They could still win that conference and be the automatic guys. So,
I know that you're a little, and the Memphis fans are a little rankled because you wanted to get them in Tallahassee if they were undefeated, high-profile game, for the chance at that being a massive upset to help the Tigers' resume. But maybe this is a sign that they're still going to be vulnerable early on in the year. I don't know.
How much unrest about Mike? Because remember,
the
first year he took, they wanted him gone 1 year in.
Right, because of the problems. But he's got some leeway because they had a tremendous season. But believe me, I heard from more than one Knoll in the last 48 hours of how do you not have them ready to go? Why are we agreeing to go play all the way over in Ireland? And I know, we both know why. Financial reasons for that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there are some disgruntled people about Norvell. And he gave you a 13-0 season last year. Settle down a little bit on one game to start the year.
And now, I don't disagree with the decision because not only was there a lot of money, and I was explaining earlier, they're in a conference that is not as high-paying as the Big Ten and the SEC.
Correct.
And they have, of all the Florida schools, they don't have one of the bigger alums. Florida's got that all wrapped up. They don't have a great rich alumni group like other schools do, Miami and Florida in particular. So they could use the money, and it pays well, plus which you get a lot of pub. I mean, Mike Norvell was on national TV. He's on the Today Show.
Oh, God, yeah. And they were the high-profile game for the whole week leading up to what went on in Ireland, and they literally had over 30,000, 35,000 Florida State fans that made that journey to be over there. It just didn't work out with the W. Obviously, but still, it was a great high-profile week for their program to help with recruiting, to help with NIL. So there's just a lot of people with the ACC and the other ACC schools that are laughing about the loss to Georgia Tech.
Right. All right.
After that.
Last thing, and we're going to talk about this in the next segment with our friend Ted Butler, our golf guru, but how about Keegan Bradley? Out of nowhere, he's the last guy to make the field of 50 and ends up winning the tournament. And Scotty Scheffler's nowhere to be found except that he had accumulated so many points that he's still the number one in the FedEx Cup, which means he's 10 under. And then you've got Xander at 8 under. Hideki, if he plays, is 7 under. And there's Keegan at 600. I mean, it's an incredible thing for the guy.
I have a quick question with that. If Matsuyama doesn't play, do they move everybody up a slot, or do you stay where you were slotted with where you finished? Because it's only one stroke.
I don't know.
For whoever's fourth. I would love to know that. Is it Chris
Kirk that makes it, or maybe it's
Alex
Noren?
I think it's Oberg that's fourth.
Oh, yeah.
That would move up.
I'm just talking about the field. If Matsuyama doesn't make it.
I think the field stays set. But
so, in other words, Justin Thomas is still the last guy in no matter what?
Correct.
Okay.
I believe so. They would play with 29, and I guess he'd play with a marker or whatever. I don't know. I don't know how they would work that. But fascinating the money, fascinating what Bradley was able to do. Did you see and hear the stat that he's only the third Ryder Cup named captain to win a PGA Tour event /major. Did you hear that stat?
The
last one, Davis, you ready? Davis Love, 9 years ago, won the Wyndham Championship, having been named the Ryder Cup captain for the following year. The other name, Jack Nicklaus, 1986, had been named the Ryder Cup captain for the following year. And then won the Masters.
Augusta. Yeah. So this is the reason, because you are named because they don't think you can play anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, since the guy's been named the captain, he's played great.
And now he's eligible for the President's Cup to potentially play.
Right.
Which is even more fascinating.
Well,
so what a story.
He's probably going to be in. He's got to be. He's got to be a captain's pick. I mean, who's hotter?
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think.
TJ,
and he's got experience.
As always, thank you much. We appreciate it.
All right, much to come with the football. Everybody have a great Labor Day weekend with Weekend 1. Go Tigers. And then we'll gear up for the NFL next week. You guys behave and be well.
You too. Thank you much. That is our guy in Tampa. That is TJ Reeves. He's brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team, and the way they do insurance is unique and I think the best way. They get to really know you. They collaborate with you to figure out the best way to protect your home, your car, or your future with life insurance. That's it. They're going to sit you down, talk about your family, what's important, figure out your right budget, and then protect you. Same thing with small to mid-sized businesses. If you've got one of those, he's going to learn about your product, your employees, what you're all about, forecast you out a little bit. And then once he's got that and figures out your budget, the perfect commercial insurance for protection of your business will be presented. But how can you know until you get to know you? That's the way they work it at the Eflin Insurance Team. Back in a minute, Ted Butler will join us. We'll talk golf with our guru in just a second.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Drive like a pro and support a great cause during the sales drive at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, and Landers Ford North in Covington. We've provided over 100 new Fords to be driven by the pros at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Now they're all being sold with demo prices. That's right. Over 100 new Fords driven by the pros are being sold with demo pricing below market value. A portion of the proceeds go directly to the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. This is a once-a-year opportunity to trade up and drive like a pro while supporting a great cause. Visit LandersMemphis.com. That's LandersMemphis.com. Or come see us at Landers Ford in Collierville, Landers Ford South in South Haven, or Landers Ford North in Covington. With our Landers Easy Pass, you can get top dollar for your trade-in to help you save even more. Don't miss your chance. Reserve your demo price new Ford driven by a pro at the FedEx St. Jude Championship and lock in low APR financing. Remember, if it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square. Fun, friendly, exciting, and comfortable with wall-to-wall TVs for all your favorite games, 24 taps for all your favorite beers, including NA and local craft beers, and an in-front-of-the-wall full bar for all your other favorite beverages, including a full wine list. And in an upscale menu, patio seating, daily specials, and events, and you found all your sports in the one right place. The Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland Town Square, Highway 70.
College football's officially back. Don't miss any of the action. Jump in at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a full slate of games for week one, and for all the newbies getting into the college spirit, here's something extra special. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. The code is HERD, H-E-R-D. That's code HERD for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Listen up, I got Marty McNate on the line at Gossett Volkswagen, Germantown. Marty, you might be too busy moving back prices over there. What's up?
I'm going way back, Randy. Doc's orders. I've got 2024 Teos SE or 2024 Jetta Sport. Got to go back in time to get the good old days at $275 a month.
Great Scott, McNate. Plus, I hear the 2024 Atlas Peak editions are going for $5,000 off MSRP or 1.9 for 60 months.
That's right, Randy. During the Volkswagen Savvy Summer Sales event, your future is whatever you make of it. So go to Gossett Volkswagen Germantown at 7420 Winchester Road or shop online at GossettVWG.com.
Ask for Marty to find out how much he can move you back on price. That's Gossett Volkswagen 7420 Winchester Road.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolosha.
All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Googie.
Time to talk a little golf with Ted Butler. He's brought to you by Miramichi. There's the total golf experience. Ted can teach you, but you got to practice. The best practice facilities of any public golf course are right there in Woodstock. It's 12 minutes north of downtown. It's 22 minutes from my driveway in East Memphis. You can't beat those facilities. The driving range, the practice green, the practice traps, the whole schmear. Chipping, they've got it all right at Miramichi. Plus, unbelievable. Great golf course, 18 holes of beauty, 18 holes of toughness. You can decide 5 different tee boxes. The back 9 is like walking through the woods with hills and a meandering stream and waterfall. It's gorgeous. It's the total golf experience. It's Miramichi. We've seen a pretty unique experience with Keegan Bradley, Ted Butler. Keegan, how about this? Last guy in and wins the tournament of the second leg of the FedEx Cup. That's pretty astounding.
It's extremely astounding. The whole thing, in fact, watching that golf tournament, I remember playing the Broadmoor one time when I qualified for the NCAA tournament, and the distances the golf ball travels. I mean, it's just unbelievable. 7 irons for me back then was 150. They're going 170. These guys are hitting at 430 yards.
I know.
How in the world do you figure out what club to hit?
Well, that's the crazy thing. I watched them do it because I thought NBC did a pretty good job of this. So they would give you what the actual number was. Say it was 220. So then they would take 9% off of that because, that's really what the distance is. It's like almost 10% closer, right?
Right.
But then you have dramatic uphill and downhill. They would have to figure that in. So they were literally calculating, trying to figure out what the real distance was like to use the right club.
And then the wind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Adam Scott misses, 5 greens yesterday with wedges?
Yes. Within 115 yards, he missed all those greens, and he kept going over. He couldn't figure out what the right number was.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't me playing there. But that shot that Keegan Bradley hit on 17, that 5-iron, his second shot, probably the greatest shot ever in that tournament. 225 over 2 traps and stopped it.
Yeah, he played.
Great tournament.
Ever since he's been named U.S. Captain for the Ryder Cup, he's been incredible.
Well, he's got a bone to pick, I think, with being left off the team last time, and he's really grinding this thing.
Well, let's be honest. Usually, if you're named the captain, they don't think you can play anymore.
Yeah. Well, apparently he can.
He's just the third guy, as T.J. Reeves just pointed out to us. He's just the third guy ever to be named a U.S. Ryder Cup captain and then win a tournament. Davis Love did that, and then so did Jack Nicklaus in '86 when he won at Augusta.
Well, pretty fast company there.
Yeah. What do you think of or make of the Scotty Scheffler no-show so far in the first 2 legs? I mean, he didn't play terribly in Memphis, but he didn't play good. And then he was awful in Castle Pines. He was, yelling, what? And it just didn't seem like Scotty Scheffler.
Well, yeah. And I still think that not just from Paris, but this whole year of intense golf that he's played, you just can't keep doing it forever and ever and ever. And as high as he hits the golf ball, the yardages and the wind have got to have affected him. He had to go he looked astonished every time he hit a shot that went too short or too far, and he may be a little out of juice.
Maybe so. I was watching a debate from Randall Chambly and the guys on Golf Central, and they were not buying this fatigue thing. In Nicklaus's heyday, Palmer's heyday, they would play a minimum of 25. These guys are playing basically 19 events when you count signature, majors, and these playoffs. You're talking 19 events. And I heard Rory McIlroy at the pre-FedEx Cup Memphis tournament saying, really what we got is 6 months of intensity. You got 3 months sort of when the season is over to unwind. You got another 3 months starting in winter to get into shape and get your game going to get ready for the Tournament of Champions in Hawaii and then really to get ready for Augusta. So it's not that taxing. I don't buy this that he's just totally out of juice. Maybe mentally a little bit because he had that great run in the middle.
Well, that's one thing. I don't mean physically. I'm talking about mentally. you're winning every week. It's hard to keep doing that and stay sane. This is one of the greatest years ever in golf.
It is.
So anyway.
Do you think maybe he's a little miffed too, because in years past he would have gotten the break on a big lead to start the FedEx Cup playoffs. Instead, it's only happening at Eastlake. He starts 10 under. Xander starts 8 under. Hideki, if he can play, is 7 under. Keegan is 6 under. Oberg is 5 under. Morikawa and 2 others are at 4 under. And I think they go to the, to 1 under for somebody that's not much of an advantage, but a little bit. Do you like that? And do you think that Scotty, with this great year, kind of got the raw end of the deal?
Well, I don't think I like that spot in the whole in the first place. But he did get a raw deal. But I think Xander is hot on his heels, and he loves Eastlake. He's going to be hard to beat. He's been playing great for 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row now. He's right behind Scotty, and I think he's ready for a big one, another one.
Yeah, he's been a little more consistent in the FedEx Cup. He's stayed pretty strong. Don't forget, he's won 2 majors. Do you think?
Really cool.
Do you think? So are you saying Xander, who's going to end up starting 2 strokes behind Scotty, ends up winning the FedEx Cup?
Yes. He's my pick.
And then we got President's Cup, and I'm pretty sure Keegan's going to be on that team now.
He almost has to be.
Yeah.
He's, 9th place?
Yes. I don't see why you wouldn't. He's not only is he in 9th place, but he's hot. He's played great the last 2 weeks.
Well, the fun part of this tournament for me was watching Adam Scott and Ludwig Aubert swing. I mean, Adam Scott is just that golf swing is just poetry, and Oberg's not much different.
No, what was Adam? Adam was like, what was he? 174 with the driver's swing speed velocity. Was at 44 years of age. Same thing as Obert's.
Yeah, and they hit him at 430 yards. Of course, he did hit 2 out of bounds.
Oh yeah. Well,
your opening tee shot was out of bounds.
Yeah, well, that was on Saturday, right? The opening, or was that yesterday?
I think that was Saturday.
Yeah, I think it was Saturday too. Wow.
But it was a fun tournament anyway.
Does the international team with 5 Canadians on it, I think, they're playing in Montreal, they have any chance against the United States?
I don't think so. I'd be surprised. The United States is awfully tough this year. And we always win the President's Cup, right?
We do. We do. There's no doubt.
I think they get so much pressure on the Canadians up there when they're playing on their home turf. They try really, really hard and don't play as well. I'd pick us. So.
I'd pick us big too. I'm in agreement with that. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that, and we'll sort of do a summary of what has been a glorious year between Scotty and Xander. It's been a great golf year, that is for sure. We'll rehash next week, your last time on until Augusta.
Okay.
All right,
Ted.
Then. Thank you. We appreciate it. That is our guy. That is Ted Butler on golf. He's brought to you in part by Grind City Brewing. That's the place you got to go to get a taste of Memphis. That is local beer that was the dream of a father and son that has become a reality in a big way. Not only are the products like the Pilsner, Poppy's Pils, their number 1 seller, or the Thaddeus, the Lager, the Belga, which is the Blue Moonish kind of thing. Not only is their product terrific, but if you go to their site where they make it, just north of downtown, you will love the place. The modern brewery is beautiful. The grounds are terrific with picnic tables, a view of the city, a view of the bridges. It's really a cool place. Oh, and by the way, they got concerts. It is well-rounded. It's a taste of Memphis, and it's become an iconic place of Memphis. Grind City Brewing. Just go and thank me later. That'll do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Johnny Radio is right around the corner, so have a great day, everybody.